because you obviously didn't see it. So this is Spirited Away. You can see what's going on here. Okay. So this is Chihiro. I'm gonna stand next to her. There's the reflections of No Face and Chihiro from Spirited Away. And what's really cool about this is you can actually add audio. I'm going to turn it up quickly so you can hear what it sounds like. But I don't want to do this because it's a little bit of a, it's audio from Spirited Away and it's copyrighted. So actually, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, okay. Now I can see the chat, I think. So give me suggestions and hopefully I'll be able to see it. I don't know what was going on there where I couldn't see the chat, but I can hopefully see it now. All right. Let me show you another one, I guess, seeing as you didn't see any of them. Okay. So here is Bloodborne. So let me just, I'm going to stand back and I'm going to walk through it. So here is, wait, let me get a red thing so that you can see better what I'm pointing at. All right, so each individual bit of this is a different stroke, so you can sort of, paint along. 1 second, why can't I paint? I bet I'm on the wrong layer. Yeah, all right. So, each stroke also has opacity and thickness, so it allows you to paint basically whatever you want, including color onto things and lighting. What I really like about this is that you have to individually paint each bit of lighting. None of it is real. Like even this shadow here is colored strokes. Okay, so now hopefully I can see suggestions. Let me reload this because I think every time I reload it, it works and I can see the chat. So I'm going to do that again. Okay. Let's try it now. Is there anything new in chat? The most early thing that I can see is told him via other means. So I don't know if that's the newest message. I don't think it is. All right. So if that's not the newest message, can someone tell me in Discord? Okay, this is the newest here. Okay, good. So the only suggestion so far is draw the characters from the Gruffalo. So if you want me to draw the Gruffalo, I can do that. I love the Gruffalo, so I can do that. But if there's any other suggestions, bring them up now, and then I'll just, see what, see what you want me to draw. Sorry about this stream. I'm very new to it. I'm not very used to doing this sort of thing. Okay. Okay. You just wanted to see how you frame out and start a piece of art. Okay. It's hard to wrap your mind around how to get it going. Okay. Oh, thanks. Thanks for calling me talented. I don't think I am, but I guess I'll draw the Gruffalo. So let me quickly grab a few pictures off the internet, I guess. So basically, what I like about Quill is you can bring in reference, but my internet's really slow while I'm streaming, so I might just have to do it blind. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have to do it blind. Let's do it. Okay. So I guess we can start by getting a color for the background. So basically, you select your color palette. You choose the selection of color that you want to do. Always do this first. If you're going to paint something, always paint the background color first, because if you don't do that, then you're left with a white canvas. It's daunting, and you feel like you can't paint properly. It sort of makes it harder for you to see where you want to go, what sort of lighting you want. So just pick a relatively gray tone. Keep it on this side of the spectrum. Don't go over here, because if you do that, it's super vibrant, it's too colorful, and it distracts from the thing that you actually want to draw. And if you look at real life, if you look at the sky, it's not super colorful. It's not like bright blue. You might get a sort of orange, but even the orange is sort of about this color. It's not this. So, at sunset you might get a more vibrant color, but it wouldn't be much more vibrant. Okay, so let's start off by drawing some construction lines. So currently we're on paint layer 1, like no different. I like to draw with this brush here, the flat brush. I feel like that's a nice one to use. So let's start off with the Gruffalo. Now, I could do the mouse. The mouse is probably much easier, but I'm going to do the Gruffalo from memory. If it's wrong, you know what? It'll be fun to have a look at it after and be like, oh, I completely forgot what the Gruffalo looked like. So, you know what? Let's just do that. So, a cool thing that you can do is you can use this bit here, toggle rotation opacity, to draw your construction lines. So if I did this, for instance, and that, right, it doesn't feel, it goes transparent when you do it. So basically that allows you to see from different angles. This isn't the Gruffalo, by the way. I'm just doing a little dude. See, so now when you look at him from here, he looks normal, but then when you rotate the camera, it becomes a side face of him. So that is a very, useful thing to do. So I'm just going to rub out all of that. I don't want that. Erase. Okay. So let's start off. Are you sure? I don't really want to paint the Gruffalo because I've forgotten what he looks like, but we're going to do it. So in chat, can you guys help me out? Can you guys help me? Let's have a look at chat. All right. I'm just going to Google Gruffalo on my phone because my internet's too slow on my computer while I'm streaming, just because I have bad internet. Let me just pop that down. Gruffalo, the Gruffalo. All right. Okay, I remember that. I remember what the Gruffalo looks like now. Okay, I can do that. Okay, so I guess we're just gonna start by painting, doing construction first. So I'm gonna turn off that. I don't like that. All right. So he has a big swooping nose that comes down like that. Then he sort of has a big mouth that comes around. I know he looks like Where the Wild Things Are. I've read the book, and I've seen like footage of him, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. Okay, so we've got the bottom jaw looks like that. Okay, he's very smiley, so that should be fun to draw, I guess. Okay, so let's put that down. Let's 1 second. I just need to change my thing to that. There we go. All right, so he smiles. He's got big teeth. He has a wart on his nose. He has pretty big eyes. His jaw comes out like that. His head's pretty round, right? And that seems to look a bit like him. Looks a bit like a crocodile at the moment, but I'll keep looking at reference and hopefully he'll become less crocodilian. Okay, so he has a swooping, sloped back. That doesn't look very good. Like that, okay. He has ears which come out like that, and he has big horns. Okay. Now for his shoulders, he's sort of fat, so he has, you know, man boobs. Oh, yeah. So he has man boobs like that. His belly comes out, not from there. Belly comes out like that. All right, so belly comes out. You know. Oh, I should probably stand back. I just hit my computer screen. Okay, and his big arms come out from the sides. Okay, that looks awful. Remove that. Okay, so there we go. So that's sort of correct. So let's rub out that. Let's erase this bit because that back doesn't swoop in the correct way. Okay, so that's a little bit better, but that bottom bit needs to come out to there. Okay, so he sort of looks like the Gruffalo. Maybe I should grab hold of this bit and make it bigger. I think his head is too small, so here's a good tip. Select the selection tool. Grab the section that you want to select. So here's his head, right? And now you can move the selection to a new layer, select that layer, and scale it to fit what you want. So look, you can grab bits, move them around like that, and then there, he looks a bit better now. Okay, let's get a look at that reference again because I can't remember it off the top of my head because I am obviously an idiot. Okay, so he's got a tail, fat. Oh, he's got his knob. I remember the knobbly knees. All right, so he's got knobbly knees, knobbly knees, knobbly knees. Oh, okay. So see, the problem there was I didn't merge the layers back down again. So if you don't merge the layers back down again and you accidentally grab hold of a piece of him, you know, it'll fly around everywhere. You don't want that. So let's put that down and then hit this merge selected layer. So now it's all one piece again. Oh, got a message. Give me a second. I don't see the message. Where is it? Ah, here it is. Okay. That's odd. Doesn't look like I received it anywhere. Okay. Well, whatever. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Let's put the headset back on. Oh, this is taking a while. I'm obviously incapable of staying focused. Okay. So he's got his knobbly knees that come out like this, although his so it like that. Okay, I've noticed now that this section of him is too. This section of him is too thin up here. Like, I feel like he's not fat enough. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm grabbing bits of him with the move tool and readjusting so that it fits more accurately to how I imagine the Gruffalo looks. He's got his knobbly knee. Foot goes down like that. Like that. He's got his fat butt. A big padded foot. And then up like that. So, okay, so that is sort of what the Gruffalo looks like, although he does have a tail, doesn't he? Sort of like a goat's tail. So it's like that. All right, how close was I? That's sort of the rough outline, and then we'll start painting him. So how close was I there? Let's have a look at chat. Okay, so this is sort of the amount of detail that I want to put into him before actually drawing the rest of him. Although I probably want to do a little bit of, he has these big spikes, right, on his back. Okay, so that's sort of what he looks like. Let's redraw his hands, because his hands actually are very big and they have claws like that. And then he has a thumb. So 1, 2, 3, 4, thumb. So that looks like the Gruffalo to me. Okay, so now we are going to go and paint him. So this is the first layer. I'm going to name this one Line. Now, this is entirely disposable. We're not going to keep any of this. This is just to guide us through the paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a brown. He's going to be this color. So this is the darkest color that you want. So we're going to paint him very, very slowly. Okay, so I've just realized that I've left the opacity on. You don't want this. If you're filling in, opacity is not going to help right now. So let's just slowly fill him in. And it's a very good idea to, all right, first off, it's a very good idea to make sure that you don't paint it all in one big stroke. Don't do this. I'm going to show you what not to do. Don't do that. If you do this, then when you go to light him, which I will show you later, it's impossible to light him accurately, and it really makes it difficult for you to do. So just, we're going to slowly work our way down like that. Right, and it's beginning to get hard to see the lighting, like to be able to see the form, because he's all one shape. He doesn't have any distinguishing lighting on him just yet, which is why we had these construction lines here, because if we didn't have these constructions, we would not be able to see what we were doing. So here we go, like that. Okay, so here is his belly. He's pretty fat. Don't tell him I said that, because I don't want to get eaten. All right, so that is his big fat belly. Let's fill in like little gaps. If you see any little gaps anywhere, you just want to fill them in with a little bit of that brush. Not like that though, because that looked awful. Okay, so now we have the Gruffalo like this. Now it's a good idea to maybe change the color a little bit and go in with a little bit of a different brush, just so that you can see the form of the Gruffalo. There we go. So here's his man boobs. He's just, there we go. Now this doesn't look like much. It just looks like a few shapes, and at the moment it just is a few shapes. It's not got anything really. It's not got anything extremely detailed. We're just slowly working up and building the shapes. Okay, so let's just go around like this. Go up. There we go. And let's shape his legs. Okay, so he's got very, very fat legs, doesn't he? Because he's the Gruffalo, and he's huge and bulky, and he needs all of this weight to be supported. He's like a tree. So he has very, very stumpy legs, used to build up all of that weight. So okay, so here's a really useful tip, which I only found out the other day, is that, say you've got some colors here. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that, like that. And you want to select a color that you've already put down, but you didn't save it up top. You press this button. You press the Y button on if you're left-handed, and the B button if you're right-handed. I'm left-handed, so I'm going to press Y, and it allows you to color select that color. So if I do that again, I've got the blue. Do it again, I've got the pink. So that's a really, really useful thing for selecting the color that you'd already painted, but you've forgotten to save. And I thought I was missing that feature, and that Quill was stupid because it didn't have it, but I was just an idiot and I didn't realize that that function existed. So don't go blaming the tool if you don't know all of the buttons. Okay. Okay, let's choose another color. Let's go darker in here. Oh, too dark. There we go. Okay. Because I'm beginning to find it hard to see what I'm doing because it's too dark down here. It's too much of the same color. And if you put too much of the same color down, you lose your 3D, like your ability to see depth, because you have all this one color, and even your other eye from its other angle can't tell the difference between these. So go down here like that. Okay. Like that. Color select again, just to vary it up so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, so see, my construction line wasn't fully accurate. Now that was an issue, because now I'm having this arm in the way of the leg where I wanted to put the leg. So remember that the construction line is only a guide. It doesn't actually, it's not a 100% strict rule as to using that fully. You just want it to be there just to help you through it. Okay. Okay, so we're beginning to get there now. It's beginning to look a bit like... Okay, so I've actually gotten to the knobbly knee. So I'm just going to do that for now. I'm just going to, bring that down to maybe this color and paint it in like that. This is just to give an impression of where his knee's going to be. I'm probably going to detail that up much more later, but just going to give his knees a little bit of a different color because they're big. They're part of the book, right? You go, oh, and he's got knobbly knees and he's dangerous because of those or whatever. I don't remember the book. Okay, let's keep painting it in. Okay. Okay, so here's what we've got so far. It's looking okay. It's not great, but I'm just trying to rush this. I'm just trying to get this quickly done. I don't care too much about the colors that I'm using because they only need to be a rough approximation. Okay, has anyone got any questions? If they've got any questions, just stick them in the chat and I will look at them in a moment. Remember, I'm regularly going to be checking chat, so if you have anything to say, just say it and I will have a look. All right, so I'm reforming his belly because it didn't feel like it fit perfectly. So just mucking around with it and moving it about. And then, there we go. Let's bring out his stomach a little bit more. It's a bit more distended. Okay, so, we're getting there now. We're getting there. So let's move up his foot so it's more flat to the ground and bring down this one and bring his butt back a little bit like that. There we go. So now his... Oh, okay, that doesn't look too good. I need to push that back up. There we go. Okay. So let's continue painting. Okay, so what I'm also doing is I'm following the grain of his fur. Now, this isn't entirely necessary, but I feel like it will help in a moment when I actually start coloring him, accurately. It's going to be quite important, at least on a character with fur, that the brushstrokes that I made follow his grain, follow his back and his, body in general. Okay. Okay, I'm going to check chat. Actually, I say I'm going to check chat. I'm going to check chat in 30 seconds, just so that you have time to ask questions. And for me for what I've said to catch up to what you've said. Okay. Okay, so that's beginning to look like him. Let me put that down and have a look at the chat. Okay, so let's reload this just in case. Okay, looks like no one has any questions, so that's okay. I don't mind. Just quickly checking something. Okay. 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 I will continue then, I guess. Let me just turn this back. I'm going to have a look at one more reference image because I need to keep refreshing my memory. It's a good idea to keep refreshing your memory, otherwise you will forget what you're drawing, and it won't look as good. So let's have a look here. Yeah, he's got his knobbly knees. Okay, so everything seems to be going okay. So I'm going to keep painting him. Okay. Okay. It's a bit too much there. Okay. All right. So all right. So you may actually be wondering why I've decided that he should look like this and have these mismatched colors and not really be looking exactly like you remember the Gruffalo looking. And the reason for that is the colorize tool. The colorize tool is incredibly good because it allows you to choose the color of what you've painted. So you can draw it out all in one color, for instance, like this, and then go in and individually change the color of the character that you've been drawing. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to draw a new layer on. Actually, I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to choose bright red, and I'm going to choose the direction in which the light is coming from. So I'm going to choose right there. So it's coming from there. So now I know, okay, the light is coming down from this angle, and it's going to hit his body, and he's going to light up. Let's go back to this layer. Let's select that, or this, and then draw him in really quick. Yeah, there we go. That's good enough. Okay, so like that. Now, a good thing about Quill, which is what I'm going to do in a moment, is you can draw something on another layer, move it into place, and then draw, and then copy it over and do multiple bits of it, and it allows you to create something that looks similar from two different angles. But okay, I need to change the color there. It's too similar. There we go. Okay, so okay, so any new questions in chat? I don't see any new questions in chat. Nice tip with scaling, yeah. The scaling is pretty useful. So let's quickly go in here and very quick, just blocking in his different, layers of fur and his mouth. Remember, he's always smiling, so you want to keep that in. Okay. So it's beginning to get there. Like that line is obviously wrong, so we'll fix that in a moment. And let's just get a sphere brush and do that. Just now, because I have the pressure sensitivity on this brush on, I can quickly create strands of hair and fur coming off of that. So he has a tail. And now if I can almost begin to turn off the lines, and you can begin to get an understanding of how his body is made up. But I can't do that yet because it's a little bit too soon for that. I have to wait until I finish painting him. There we go. So now we're getting to a point where I'm going to need to use other layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a new layer. I should probably name this one Gruffalo first, so I don't get confused. Gruffalo. I don't know how to spell Gruffalo, so forgive me. Let's create a new layer. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to draw his yellow evil eyes, or orange evil eyes, more like. So okay, so he has big eyes like that. the eyelid goes over it like that. Let's draw the eyelid. Okay, so it looks like that. Let's choose a different color eyelid for the bottom so we can see what we're doing. And that's going to be in his head, so it doesn't really matter what the back looks like. I just want to fill it in. Okay. So his eye's there. Now we're going to draw in... Does he have slits? Or does he have beady eyes? I don't remember. I'm going to have to check. Great. Okay, he has beady eyes. Okay. So, one thing that I'm actually going to do, which is quite different than you would expect in 2D, is I'm going to nudge in his eyeball a little bit. Like that. Okay, and you may be thinking, why have you done that? Why have you done this to the eyeball? Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw over the top. I'm going to draw his beady eye. Like that, okay? Maybe actually that it should be up here. Okay, so you're like, oh, okay, well, you've done a beady eye. That's not anything revolutionary. But if you then were to do this away from the eye, now it feels like his eyeball is in fact reflective. Now that is quite interesting to do. So now what I can do is I can bring in his eye like that, and then duplicate the eye. Like that. And then we can then paint around them with Gruffalo. So and you may be thinking, oh, his eyes look really, really different colored from the rest of him. Well, that doesn't actually matter too much, so don't get ahead of yourself. It's okay. Okay, I just read that Bob Ross thing. Thanks. Okay, so we're just going to go in like this. There we go. And bringing down his nose, let's choose a different color. Nice red. There we go. Okay, so we've got this like that. There we go. Oh. Okay. Okay, so it's beginning to look a lot like the Gruffalo. Don't do that. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Notifications on phones, singing. The stream is going downhill. I'm sorry. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now this is where it's going to get interesting. This is where it gets to one of my favorite parts of the painting. once you've fully blocked in every single part of the Gruffalo, you can then start by painting in the light. So first of all, I'm going to actually that's not good enough. Come on, what was that? That was bad. I need a darker color than that, because this here is the inside layer of his mouth. That's too dark. Okay, so we've now got most of the Gruffalo, not all of him, but most of him done. So let's just quickly get in some little ears. Let's merge down his eyes. Oh, although actually, what you should be doing before doing that is you want to move the layer that you want it to be named to the top, otherwise it will rename the layers to the ones that you don't want. Okay, so now let's create a new layer and paint in some ears. So just grab some big old ears like this. There we go. There we go. Maybe he's even got some little tufts of hair coming out of the top like that. Okay, and then let's bring in some darker colors here. Let's bring in some darks like this. The inside of his ear is sort of fluffy and damp, so let's really get in and darken it up. Okay, like that. There we go. Okay, so now what we do is we grab this color again and go over the top of that ear. We don't need it to be we don't need to paint so much strands on here, because remember, this is just an ear. It's not actually going to be this size. So when it gets shrunk down, this will be enough brush strokes to colorize it. Okay, so that's that there. Let's grab a hold of it like that. Then duplicate it like that and bring it over. Sadly, however, his ears are now the wrong way. Or this one is, at least. But I think that's pretty cute looking. I think he's sort of, you know, he's like, oh, what's this? I can hear something over there. So I think he looks pretty good. So let's merge those layers down. So now the Gruffalo is beginning to take shape. I think if we just do a couple more bits, all we need to do now really is his nose, which is probably a similar colour, at least similar, to his knobbly knees. There we go. Alright. Bringing that in. And how could we forget the wart on his nose? The green, stinky wart. The green, stinky wart. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now I can start doing his teeth. I'm just going to do these pretty quickly because I'm beginning to get a little bit tired of these boring bits, the bits that aren't fun. So, like that. That seems a little bit odd. I'll fix that in a moment. Okay, so now let's do this like that. Okay. Oh, I forgot his arms. Almost forgot his arms. Great. Do I want to do his arms? Yes, I have to. Don't pretend like you can't do arms. Alright. You can see I've become impatient. Okay. Let's have a look. Okay. Let's grab some darker bits. You know what? I think he's going to have sort of the Simpsons type hand where they go back like this and they curve round like that. And then he's got his claws popping out of the ends this way instead of straight down. I think that gives him a little bit more character, if you ask me. Although that is a little bit too stupid looking for my taste. Let's make these bend. Yeah, like a grizzly bear. Nice. Now, because I'm incredibly lazy, I'm going to do this. Bloop. And then I'm going to copy selection to a new layer and move it over like that. Then rub out his claws and redraw them. All I have to do is rub out. Oh, in fact, I don't even need to. I can just do this. Let's do selection. Like this. There we go. Move selection to a new layer. And then spin his hand round. And then I will just do a little bit of touching up. Like this. Okay, so it looks as though I can turn off the lines and I have a Gruffalo. So I'm going to do this and just do some minor tweaking to his body so that it's a little bit more good looking. There we go. Okay, and now you finally get to see colorizing, although that looks pretty dodgy. So let's move his boob down, his other boob down. There we go. Okay, so there's the Gruffalo. Let's do a plane first. So let's get in some square brushes. Let's do some greens, sort of like this. Let's get the straight line tool as well, just to okay. I'm going to do that on a new layer because I'm self-conscious. Okay, good enough, right? Let's grab that, move that in line, maybe delete that one. Okay, so there we go. Now we finally get to the bit I've been waiting for. We're going to go to the colorize tool. Actually, in fact, I need the line on just so I can remember where I put the light. Okay. Oh, that is not what I want, though. I do not want that grid. That grid is incredibly annoying. There we go. Okay. So he is getting struck by light on this side. So if I were to select this color, go into the orange spectrum, and then start coloring him with... Oh, that's a little bit too much. Let's change the opacity down to about here. Let's change the saturation up to about here. And I can now start lighting the Gruffalo. And now you can see why I wanted to keep him having the same grain on every stroke, going in the same direction. Because if I didn't, then I would have an issue. Let's even lower that a little bit more. Let's darken him up a little bit. In certain areas, let's re-darken. Whoa, okay. Now this is very quick. Obviously, if I were to paint this a little bit more, with care, I would get a better result. Now let's actually get some bounce light in here. Now because the sky is blue, he will have blue light hitting him in shadow. So if we just do some quick little bits like this, it will give him a little bit more realism to his thing. There we go. So let's bring in some reds, some bright reddish hues, and maybe even more red than that. He even gets a little... This here is called subsurface scattering, where the light from one side of a thin object gets sent through because it's very, very, very slightly transparent, and the light is strong enough to do so. So that is called subsurface scattering. If you were to do that on your piece, that's what it's called, just so you know. Let's bring in some more reddish hues. I feel like he's too yellow. Okay, so he's got his little toes here, and they're getting hit by light because there's light there. But see, there is green ground here. So what we want to do is we want to very, very, very slightly, so more than that, we want to go in and we want to very slightly tinge the bottom of him the color of the ground. And that's called bounce lighting. So his butt will have some bounce lighting. His tail will have a little bit. And definitely under here will have a little bit. Now let's get some blues. Back at it with the blues again. And now, because he has teeth that are being hit by a lot of light, we need to choose some very bright yellows. His nose will have a little bit of yellow on it. And then the very top of this tooth will also get a little bit, but the bottom won't because it's covered by shadow. So let's choose the darker blues over here and give that a little bit even darker than that. There we go, and then we choose that color. And you really begin to feel the light once you start doing this. It really feels like it's right there. There we go. Now under here, we need to start blending the colors in. Really make it mix quite well, because I feel like that was a little bit too much going on here. It seems slightly too bright. There we go. Okay. Now his knobbly knees need to maybe get some brighter colors up here, but they're still quite grey, so you don't want to go over the top with them. And they can have a lot of blue on them because they're grey, so they pick up a lot more color than would originally be shown on his fur, because his fur is brown, so they pick up warmer colors. The grey is more likely to pick up a more even range, so you want to do that instead. So there we go. Okay, now the back here needs to be quite dark in here. The opacity needs to be more. There we go. So what I was doing here is, it says tool opacity, right? Tool opacity is used to show the strength or transparency of the thing that you're using. So if you want a thinner, less powerful amount of whatever color you have, you want to do it quite low opacity. You don't want to go over the top with it. Okay, so right in here, let's do a darker color because it's inside his wrists. There we go. So under here, we're going to get some dark tones. Right here is where you're going to get a very sharp bit, because this isn't going to get hit by light, but the rest of him is. So that's just a quick sketch of the Gruffalo. So if I turn off the lines now, because I don't need them anymore. Oh, no, it's not what I wanted. There we go. You can see that we have the Gruffalo. I'm going to actually really darken up this, because this is supposed to be like that, right? There we go. Just get in some very, very small claws and things like that. Like that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just quickly grab in some of that. Paint in the gaps that we couldn't see before because it was all the same tone, so we couldn't tell where any of it was that had little gaps in. And there you have it. So there's the Gruffalo. Actually, you know what? He needs a more prominent coloured. Needs a more prominent coloured one. Now let's just quickly do. There we go. All done.